This episode is brought to you by Buffalo Trace Distillery. Powerful yet smooth. Contained but never tame. Proudly going their own way, but never going alone. This is the spirit inside Buffalo Trace Bourbon. Made at Buffalo Trace Distillery, the world's most award-winning distillery. Buffalo Trace is always perfectly untamed. Distilled, aged, and bottled by Buffalo Trace Distillery, Franklin County, Kentucky. 90 proof, 45% alcohol by volume. Learn more at buffalotracedistillery.com. Please drink responsibly.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So about the Minnesota shooting, and it brought me right back to Columbine in 1999 when I just could not get it through my head that students in America were shooting each other in schools. And this was a church inside a Catholic school. And what do you know, was a white guy, Republican, MAGA person. What do you know? White supremacist.
For the mother to not even return to the state to answer law enforcement questions, to try to provide some assistance. I'm sure she's grieving for her daughter, but this is, it's a really perverse and strange element of this story. It's inexplicable to me at this point.
Yeah, Andrew McCabe, we'll see if that changes. I think.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the It's Already Friday again edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Thank you for being here. The first verse you heard blaming the shooting in Minneapolis. I always want to pronounce it, and I have to stop myself so many times. Minneapolis instead of Minneapolis. 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 The first verse you heard was that of, what was she? Was Rosie O'Donnell a comedian? What was she when she was popular or somewhat popular? I don't even remember. Anyway, spewing the usual hatred against MAGA, that first voice you heard today, as we began, was that of Rosie O'Donnell claiming the shooter was a Republican, MAGA, white supremacist. And then, of course, followed by Andrew McCabe on CNN. We will continue to speak about, and there are some other sounds that you should hear regarding this horrible shooting this week. There is other political news. The political front is still roiling. Welcome to your Labor Day weekend. We were just, it seems almost yesterday, saying happy summer. The summer season has begun. And here we are at Labor Day already. Among the things that have the left upset today, Donald Trump has revoked the Secret Service protection for the Challenger. Carlos, why is that funny? That was editorial comment by Carlos. I guess you find that amusing, do you?
It was about time.
About time.
Yep.
Why was it about time that...
Why does she need a Secret Service?
Because Joe Biden wanted to extend it. Usually, after they leave office, vice presidents have Secret Service protection for 6 months. That 6 months would have ended in June. But Joe Biden wanted to give Kamala a gift, so he extended her Secret Service protection for a year. Donald Trump gave her 9 months of that year and just said, okay, enough's enough. Here's the way it's being reported on PMS Now NBC, or PMS NBC, soon to be PMS Now. Trump revokes Kamala Harris Secret Service protection, adding to outlandish list. There is no modern precedent for an American president effectively wielding security details as a political tool until now. Well, that's really... I guess they've forgotten about security details, about having the FBI and so forth march down to Mar-a-Lago. They've forgotten so much. There were calls, by the way, if you remember, from Michael Steele. I was listening to that earlier today. Benny Johnson, Democrat, and a bunch of others back in the day on PMS NBC urging that former president, when he was former president, Donald Trump, have his Secret Service protection stopped. So, of course, this is all brand new. Nothing ever happened. Trump's the only one. Meanwhile, I'm going to cover some of the stories before we get to more of the shooting things that are in the news. Abreu Garcia. Kilmar. Yes, Kilmar. 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 Kilmore. No, Kilmar. Not Kilmore, Kilmar. Kilmar Abreu Garcia is requesting. Actually, headline says demanding that the Trump administration stop calling him an MS-13 gangbanger, a serial wife beater, a human trafficker, or any of the other things that they say in connection with all of the charges that he faces. His lawyers wrote, further intervention from the court is necessary to protect Mr. Abreu's right to a fair trial and the integrity of these proceedings. The government's ongoing barrage of prejudicial statements severely threaten and perhaps have already irrevocably impaired the ability to try this case at all in any venue. If the government is allowed to continue in this way, it will taint any conceivable jury pool by exposing the entire country to irrelevant, prejudicial, and false claims about Mr. Abreu. The government's vitriolic statements also risk impeding the defense's ability to present its case through witnesses who may well fear that they could be in the next target of the government's public attacks should they take the stand. So, Abreu, Kilmar would like, and his lawyers would like everybody to shut up talking about him being an MS-13 member, a gangbanger, a serial wife beater, which is what they've said. I don't have no information. And all these other assorted things that would say that he's a sordid personality. They don't want that discussed. Especially, which of those do you think, I don't know, which one is the worse? Do you think the ones that they really wanted, the MS-13 gangbanger thing shut out, or the serial wife beater, or the human trafficker, which ones do you think they really wanted? I don't know. Okay. Many of you, if you watch the news, listen to the news, hear the news, care about the news, Carlos is shaking his head no to each one of these things. All right, Carlos. Who is who's suing? Who is Susan Monares? Who is Susan Monares?
No idea.
No idea. She was confirmed recently to be the head of the CDC. Does that
I know what the CDC is. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so you're not. She's been fired, and it's a big deal.
Oh yeah, I heard it yesterday at the briefing. They said it.
Yeah. She's fired, and they're raising hell about it. Let me ask you a question. Do you care?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Is she suing?
She's saying only President Trump can fire because apparently the HHS secretary, who is technically her boss, Robert Kennedy. They got into a dust up and told her to pack up and leave. And she says she's not packing up and leaving anywhere. I didn't know that fired employees can't be fired. That once you're fired, that you can say, I'm not fired. I didn't know that employees had the right to say, after the boss fires them, I'm not fired. But her warriors are at it too, the lawyers. And apparently this big mix-up is over vaccines, et cetera, et cetera. And this woman, apparently she's got some creds. She's got some credentials. She is a PhD in microbiology and immunization things. And anyway, Health and Human Services Director, Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill has been appointed as the interim director of the CDC and prevention, according to the White House. And this is a very contentious situation, but as far as I know, she's still fired, perhaps. Okay, since you've been shaking your head, who's Lisa Cook?
She also got fired.
Lisa Cook. She also got... Now, who is Lisa Cook?
I don't know who she was, but she's fired.
She's... She's with the Fed. Or she was with the Fed.
Not
She's
anymore.
still with the... Apparently, I don't know. You see, the Fed is an independent agency, which, for the life of me, I can't figure out who they're accountable to and who they're not. But Lisa Cook. Now, Lisa Cook was the first black woman ever to be appointed to the Fed. Joe Biden appointed her. Oh, no, you put your hands up immediately. Uh-oh. He fired a black woman. Uh-oh. You know why he fired her?
She was not good at her job.
Wasn't good at filling out forms, apparently. When she filled out a form for a mortgage, there was, how shall we say, it's kind of the Letitia James thing. There was one, now there's a second criminal referral about mortgage fraud in her applications, saying things that are not true with her. Anyway, that one's in court. Her legal team, led by this guy, Abby Lowell, this extreme leftist. After more than 2 hours of oral arguments, the hearing between Cook's legal team and the Trump administration ended without a judge ruling on a temporary restraining order that could block her firing. What happens next is not immediately clear. First black woman to serve on the Fed's board of governors, she's seeking an immediate and emergency temporary restraining order that would confirm her ability to stay in her role while the merits of the case are heard. Donald Trump moved to fire her this week, citing allegations of mortgage fraud brought by one of his political appointees. She hasn't been charged with any crime yet. So that's contentious. All right. We have more news. We're going to take a break. Now, let me just I'm just going to tell you up front, if we have time, when we come back, the voice you hear is a guy, you'll hear when we're on the way back from the commercials, a guy with a huge rainbow flag in back of him, and he has comments about the shooting in Minneapolis. He's kind of an older guy, kind of balding. He's got this T-shirt on, this huge rainbow flag in back, and have that visual in your mind when we get back as you hear his remarks. James Golden, Snerdley. Coming back, James Golden. Keep you right here. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, remember, this guy's sitting, this gray T-shirt or something looks like that, kind of bald, middle-aged guy. He's got that bozo bald look going on, kind of graying, middle-aged guy, and this is what he, with the rainbow, big, huge rainbow flag in back of him, and this is what he has to say.
And you know what? There's going to be a lot more of that coming up, especially at these religious areas, Hey, we've had enough of your kind coming after public schools, right? It's about time, churches and Catholic schools and religious schools, it's about time they get their turn. That's what I think. I'm just going to sit back and watch people do it. And I'm going to laugh. I'm laughing about yesterday. You guys want to laugh about us? We're going to laugh about you.
Once again, this man, I'm not going to even make a comment about it. I don't think I have to. But he is laughing. He is happy that it was a Catholic school that was targeted, and he had this to say.
And you know what? There's going to be a lot more of that coming up, especially at these religious areas, Hey, we've had enough of your kind coming after public schools, right? It's about time, churches and Catholic schools and religious schools, it's about time they get their turn. That's what I think. I'm just going to sit back and watch people do it. And I'm going to laugh. I'm laughing about yesterday. You guys want to laugh about us? We're going to laugh about you.
Children are killed in America. He's laughing. It's about time. It's about time.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You want to hear a war breakout, folks? The Abby Show. Scott Jennings, they're talking about this whole CDC thing. A whole bunch of other people left the CDC too, blah, 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 blah. Scott happens to mention that one of these people maybe shouldn't have even been. This is one of these people. Well, you'll hear it. He brings up something, and immediately the entire panel on the Abby Show goes to Wawa with Scott Jennings. This is what that sounded like.
I just have to say, he did use the term pregnant people in his resignation.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry. If that is like the way you're presenting information, I have questions about your credibility.
Scott, it's so amazing.
It's not a ruse. He really wrote it down.
This
guy's not credible to me. That's all I'm telling you.
Scott, are you serious?
Come on.
No, he is not credible.
No. Are you serious that this is
yes, he did write it.
That of all the things that we're talking about here, immunizations, vaccines, autism, the research on communicable diseases, on cancer, and you are the most concerned about someone's use of the word people.
Yeah, because
that's the most important thing.
Because you were just complaining about the politicization of science, and I can't think of politicization of science more than that, or of what some of these people said to the American people during COVID.
So you heard that. Now Scott Jennings' point was, look, I don't know how much credibility you can give to this health person anyway. A person that doesn't understand basic biology shouldn't be in the role. But as soon as he brought it up, the entire, well, except for one guy, the entire panel erupted on him. And then Abby that woman is so annoying. She's so condescending and so, never mind. To me, Anyway, it's Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. Labor Day weekend. Happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. There is some Labor Day news. Would you like to hear it? You'd like to hear it. Okay. So, here's the news. This is from a website that I scour. I don't hear many people ever referring to this website, but I read it a lot. It is a website that is for government workers. It's called Government Executive. And that's where the government workers give news to other government workers about what's going on in the government. And I read this thing. I've been reading this thing for years. And they have good stories. They let you know what's on the mind of government employees and government executives. Well, there was a Labor Day story broke last night, 7:10 p.m. The time, the dateline, Washington, D.C., I guess. A fresh, new executive order aims to ban unions at more federal agency. Happy Labor Day weekend. President Trump, on Thursday, that will be yesterday, signed a new executive order targeting unions at more than half a dozen agencies. Again, under the auspices of national security. I'm adding a few things that I think would be their tone. The edict, which was published within minutes of Trump's proclamation marking Monday's Labor Day holiday, appends a March edict that seeks to outlaw collective bargaining for 2/3 of the federal workforce, citing a seldom used provision of the 1978 Civil Service Reform Act, allowing the president to exclude agencies from federal labor law if the law cannot be applied to that agency or subdivision in a manner consistent with national security requirements. So, in other words, Trump said, hey, these things are vital national security. We can't have this. We can't have union stuff going on here. And so far, he's targeted 2/3 of the federal workforce. These people are not happy. They are ticked. They are unbelievably ticked. Matt Biggs, the national president of the International Federation of Professional and Technical Engineers, whose union represents a portion of NASA's workforce, along with the American Federation of Government Employees, suggested that the administration's targeting of NASA, IFPTE's largest union, was in retaliation for its own lawsuit, challenging the spring iteration of that executive order. It's not surprising, sadly. What is surprising is that on the eve of Labor Day weekend, when workers are to be celebrated, the Trump administration has doubled down on being the most anti-labor, anti-worker administration in U.S. history. We will continue to fight in the courts, on the Hill, and the grassroots levels against this. We will fight them on the beaches. We will fight them in the air. We will fight. We will never surrender. We shall never give up. We want everybody unionized. We're going to never stop. We'll fight them in the sewers. We'll fight them in the streets of the derelict cities that our Democrat Party runs. We'll fight them in the rigged election. We'll fight them in the streets. We'll fight them in the ghettos. We'll fight them everywhere. We'll never not stop trying to unionize everybody. On the eve of their biggest holiday, what does Donald Trump do? Here's another executive order for you guys. No unions for you. Happy Labor Day. This guy is amazing. Happy Labor Day. Okay. Now, Abby. You know, you can tell when Abby gets upset over this woman. Abby. It should be the Scott Jennings Show featuring a distraught Abby. That should be the name of the show. The Scott Jennings Show featuring distraught Abby. Two things from that show. There are actually three, but I'm not going to play them all. Abby, and we just talked about this business with the Linda Cook. And liberals have they are outraged over this. First of all, she's a black woman. First black woman ever appointed. That means she's supposed to be immune from criticism. That means she's supposed to be immune from everything because she's a Democrat. If she's the first black person done something and is a Republican, never all bets are off. By all means, attack them. Attack them. In fact, if there's a black conservative, at the highest levels of the Democrat Party, they can attack them. I remember the departed former Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, calling Justice Thomas illiterate and saying he didn't, his decisions were like, please. Justice Thomas has had more of an impact on the Supreme Court in this last half century than anybody save Anton Scalia. Both of them have had an incredible impact on the court. Clarence Thomas, Politico did an article about Justice Thomas, and they had Justice Thomas. It was one of the funniest covers you'll ever see if you can find it. They had pictures of the White House. They had pictures of everywhere. And all in the windows, they had little cutouts of Justice Thomas. And the reason they did it is because, and all over, not just White House, because Justice Thomas's influence on the court has shaped the direction of the court. His decisions have pretty much shaped the court, and it is widely unreported how powerful an influence Justice Thomas has had on the Supreme Court of the United States. In fact, I laughed. I mentioned it to him. I had a rare chance to speak with him, and I mentioned this political cover, and I just laughed myself silly. It's hysterical. But anyway, Harry Reid, one of the most powerful African-American man in America, and Harry Reid went on a racist it's the kind of thing that used to be the shiftless, lazy attack that you used to get. And but Democrats, no. No one said a word. But if you dare attack Lisa Cook, or even say she should be fired because this is a woman that is now one of the most powerful women in terms of economic policy that affects everybody, and the accusations are that she lied and committed mortgage fraud. But no, you're not supposed to attack her. You're not supposed to do anything. Well, Abby, of course, you can hear almost the outrage that Lisa Cook is even being questioned on the Abby show with Scott Jennings. So you have that one. Let's see. Yes, that would be the one. So go right ahead. Abby's show. No, that's not it. That's when she's arguing with Scott over ICE. I thought I had this thing all teed up here. So we got the pregnant people she was interrupting them over that. We had Abby on this, that, the other. Let's see. You know what, folks? I'm going to have to find this thing. I thought we had it. We may not even have it in there. Yes, we did. It was Scott. It was Pete. I'm sorry, it wasn't Scott, it was Pete. Pete Seat was the one who said, that's cut 9. Here you go.
I believe in the independence of the Fed. I also believe in accountability. Lisa Cook claims that these mortgage papers were submitted as part of her confirmation process. That means we have to assume that the Biden administration vetted her. So either they didn't care that she committed mortgage fraud, or they didn't notice that she committed mortgage fraud, and that's a problem.
You also don't know that she committed mortgage fraud, okay? That is also true.
She's not denied it,
Hold on,
has she?
But you, in this country, She doesn't have to prove that she didn't do the crime. You have to prove that she did not. If you were a prosecutor, have to prove that she did it. We don't know. It's an allegation.
Well, it's likely tomorrow going to come down to whether or not a judge thinks she quote, made a mistake or that she was doing it maliciously.
I don't want to skirt over the original question that I asked, Essie, because this is super important. I mean, the president is ultimately trying to take over the Fed.
You hear the outrage. It's like she's taking this personally. How dare you? Those are just allegations. Boy, it's funny when Donald Trump was being the target of all this, no one ever stopped down and reminded themselves that he was innocent until proven guilty. These people were ready to throw him to the wolves with mere allegations. And you just listen to the outrage from Abby at the mere suggestion that they knew, and Biden should have known. They should have vetted her properly. Okay, on the Abby show last night as well, we rarely do so many Abby cuts because I can't, number one. But you got to hear this Democrat strategist. Her name is Jennifer Welch. I don't know. She does some podcast somewhere. She and everybody else and everybody's brothers, uncles, mothers, fathers, sisters, uncles, babysitter has a podcast these days. But anyway, she has a podcast. And listen to this. And this is one Scott reacted to beautifully. Cut 7. Here's this.
Cops on January 6th. Meanwhile, this guy, this should be the lead story, is clearly suffering from massive mental decline. He is out of his mind with all of the show and tell procedures that go on in the Oval Office. 2 days ago, he gave 3 press conferences in a row. And if you don't think he has dementia, let's just discuss the time that when he was on the campaign trail that he tried to perform oral sex on a microphone. If Joe Biden did this,
I hope this is what Democrats do next year.
ER.
If this is the Democratic strategy, congratulations, America. You've already reelected Republican majorities as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, because Trump's approval is in the low 30s. It's in the low 30s right now.
Coming up next for us.
Yeah, let's hurry up and get out of this. Unbelievable. That's right. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media. Keep it right here. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In L.A., do you think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that. Everybody knows what's at stake, so we have to put a stake in the ground and do things differently.
That, my friends, was Gavin Newsom. Now, that may have went by quick. We're going to play it again, but I want you to just pay attention to what he's saying, because this is deep. Okay? He's talking in an interview, and he talks about the elections. They're trying to figure out, he's trying to do his own little pretend to be Trump, try to get a handle on so-called law and order so that the National Guard, they can claim National Guard, what Trump's doing in Washington can't really take place en route in California. Listen to what he is afraid of one more time.
In L.A., do you think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that. Everybody knows what's at stake, so we have to put a stake in the ground and do things differently.
Do you think ICE is not going to show up near polling places? Why would that be a problem? What's the problem if ICE were to be in the vicinity of a voting place? You know what the problem is, and so do I. What's the problem? Man, it's almost transparent what they are afraid of. They know the deal. Anyway, we mentioned earlier, today is the heavenly birthday of Michael Jackson. Often recognized as the world's most successful entertainer of all time. So we thought we'd leave you today with some Michael. Human nature, of course. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you, your family, and your loved ones. God willing, we are back in the morning. America's small caffeinated mom, our very own Lizzie Radabali, and of course, expert analysis from Princess Diana. So God willing, we will see you early in the morning, 7 a.m. We kick it off. Hope you're here. In the meantime, my friends, I bid you adieu. Happy birthday, MJ. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?